Hi everyone, welcome on another episode on Learn to Sew with Sika. So on today's episode, I'll be teaching you guys on how to make a corset. On the previous video I made on corset, I talked about the Victorian corset, but on this video I'll be talking about the corset that comes with a breast cup in it. So I would advise you put your writing materials close to you, and I'll be a bit picky with this one, and I believe I will try as much as possible. It's going to be a simple and easy tutorial that is well understood. So I will start first and foremost to draw my starting line, which I normally call as the SHL. That is my shoulder line. So marking my shoulder line, I would run down my vertical measurements. Starting from my shoulder line, I will mark out my bust line. My shoulder to my bust is 10 inches. I nudge it. And then my under bust is 13 and a half. Then my waist measurement is 16. Then my corset length, will stop it at 23. So it all depends because I'm making use of my own measurements. So I will nudge 23. After nudging this, I will draw a straight line and show you what's next. My shoulder is 16. So 16 divided by 2 is 8. So I will mark out 8. After marking out my 8, I will take my normal neckline measurement. Well, this actual measurement or phase I'm talking about really doesn't concern the corset. This comes into play if you want to put a yoke in your corset. So I will take my neck measurement, which is just the standard measurement because it's not actually that. I'm just using it for a sample in this video. So our standard measurement of neckline is 3 by 3. Note, this doesn't apply in every person. This is just the standard measurement. So I will nudge 3 by 3 and draw a line. So connect the 2 points here to this very point. So you do that with your curve rule. Then from this point where I've nudged my 3.3 by my shoulder point, I would connect it to this place. I have to first and foremost come down by 1 inch and draw a rule to connect it to this very point. So after drawing and connecting the line, as you can see, the next we will do is to mark out our chest line. And for us to get our chest line, or probably I'll call it for you to understand our armhole. For us to mark out or to get our armhole measurement, we have to first and foremost calculate our bust. Your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. So my bust measurement is 34. 34 divided by 6 is 5.66 plus 1.5, and it's giving me 7.166. So approximating it, I have just 7 inches. So from where we stopped at our shoulder, we mark out 7 inches. We mark out 7 inches here and continue the straight line to this very place and draw a horizontal line to meet. Let me draw it and show you what we've got. So as you can see, we have marked out our armhole measurement. So with this, it will give us a guideline to our chest line. So we'll use this as a guideline to what we have. So what we'll do next is to measure out our nipple to nipple measurement, which is your bust span measurement. So my own bust span measurement is 8 inches. 8 inches. So 8 inches divided by 2 will give you 4. So I'll add half an inch for allowance. So I will do that now and show you the feedback. This is what I mean from the midpoint here. Sorry, my paper is. So from here, I would nudge 4.5, go down to 4.5, see, 4.5, right? So I would know, after noting that, I have to draw a straight line to connect this dots. So next, I'll go to my under bust measurement and come up by half an inch. Why am I doing that? Is because the corset is having a pop, so there should be an allowance for that sitting position of your bust, not for it to just come directly under your bust. So for the good sitting position, we go up at our under bust here. That's the under bust measurement. We go up by half an inch. Yeah, go half an inch and mark. Go half an inch and mark. And after doing that, we draw a straight line. So what I'll do next is that, starting from my bust point here, this connection, sorry for the mistake on the line, from this bust point here, there's that place, we will draw a circle round. How do we do that? We have to, how do we achieve this? We have to first and foremost measure the distance that we have from here to here, and we will mark it. So my own distance here is 2.9. There was a shift on mine, so some people can have 3 inches, 3.5, depending on the distance that you have between your bust line and that of the point. Remember, it's going to stop at the point where you marked for the half inch, not directly under your bust line, not your bust line, but this line. So from here to this very point here, I have 2.9 inches. I have 2.9 inches. So I would nudge it and mark it way round. I have to position my measuring tape to do that very, very well. I don't have to shift it in order not to have problem when I'm trying to draw my circle. So position it well to mark out the gap. So in my own case, I have 2.9 inches. Yours might be 3 inches. I believe will be accurate because mine there was a shift in the drawing in my lines. So please do this with caution in order not to make a mistake, because if you are done nudging it or spotting it and you are at the verge of drawing this circle and it's not accurate, it will be that a twitch or problem while measuring it with your tape. So that's it. After nudging it, I will draw the circle border for you to see and spot very well. I have to trace it out carefully, or with the help of a compass you can do that accurately well. So let's sketch it around and show you what next to do. So after drawing the circle, please don't mind me, mine is a freehand sketch. So as you can see, it's not too neat, but let's go with this. But while doing yours, try to use a compass to make yours very accurate. I would love to see best and better results from you guys. So what we'll do next is, at the midpoint here, at this point here, I will come in by 1/4 an inch. That spacing that you have in between your bust, because normally your bust is not too close to each other, like demarcation. So we create a spacing in between. So it depends on how close you want yours to be. Some make their own 1 inch, some make 1.5. So in my own case, because my boobs are a little bit smaller, so I'll be making use of 1/4 an inch, so that by the time you spread it out, you'll be having roughly I think I'll be having 1.4. Yes, just a bit close to 1.5. So from that point, I would mark at 1/4 an inch, that is 0.75, and notch. I'll come up by 1.5 inch. If you don't want your boobs to be too exposed, you come up by 1.5 inch upwards. While if you want yours to be exposed, you can come down by 1 inch. Remember, the lower it is happening here, gets what I'm saying? Your flesh begins to show off here. So in my own case, I'll come up by 1.5 inch in order to cut trouble of shapes and table. Okay, so I will come up by 1.5 inch notch, and then go in by half an inch, like 0.5, and notch. So from here, I will draw a straight line down to my under bust. So having done that, what I will do next is to connect this line to my new circle. I would make a curve from this line to this meeting point. This line I will draw will be my new line, because looking at this draft, looking at this circular this circle, you know that while you're looking at your normal breast cup, like your bra, it's not usually round. The boobs tends to be smaller towards this region and gets fuller at this region. So our aim this time around is to push the circle, to push it towards the side. While reducing this, we increase this area, because the boobs are usually smaller at this wing and fuller by this other wing. Get what I'm saying? Okay, I believe you understand. So with this line here, we make a curve. We make a curve using our curve ruler to meet it at this point. So that would be our new line. And I would love to indicate this using my marker pen in order not to get confused. If I haven't done that, please, I would really advise you make use of a curve ruler. I really had to do this under duress in order to meet up with the demand my fans are really asking of. So I'm doing this based on a request. So please, while doing yours, try as much as possible to get a curve ruler to do this neatly for you to have a perfect result. So after doing this, we come to this point here and come out by 1 inch towards the side, 1 inch, and then from the chest line we go down by half an inch. Go down by half an inch, so with this straight line here, this 1 inch here, we make our line accurate, straight, we knock it out down to this place. So from this very point here, we draw our curve to this other area. We draw our curve to meet here. So you can see that by the time we are done with this, we are now shifting the circle to appear fuller by this wing. That is how the regular breast cup ought to appear, because the breast usually used to be fuller at this wing and smaller at towards the front area. So with this, we connect the line from here to this very place down to this place. Having done that, we have to create our dart point, and as you can see, our dart point from here, we connect it to this very rest of the corset. So what we do is, at our waistline, we go in by 1 inch on both sides. 1 inch on both sides. We do the same at the lower part of it as at the corset length. We do the same. 1 inch on both sides. So we connect this line and make it angular to meet at this point. So we do that with a rule. We connect the lines straight down, and then we go to the next. So having done that, you can see we have to also dart our breast cup, as you can see. So we have done the lower part, and we have to also do the same to the top. We connect the lines. You can see, connect this line to this upper part. So we go in by half an inch on both sides, half an inch here, half an inch there, and connect it to this very point. Having done that, we connect our lines to this very place carefully. If you don't want your boobs to be exposed at the upper part, remember I tried coming up here by 1.5 inch if I don't want my flesh towards my front part to be exposed. So I went up by 1.5 inch. But if you want yours to be exposed, you come down by 1 inch. So now we're trying to connect this line to this circle. That's our new lines to the circle. So if you want yours to show a little bit kind of fresh at the upper joint, you come down by 0.5 inch. But if you don't want, you can still leave it at this other area. So we are going to just connect the circle to these lines carefully. Just connect our circles to this line, and our boobs will not show actually. So connecting it to this line, we do the same to this other side, connecting it to this line. And that is our core. So after connecting to this line, we take our normal measurements. We take our basic body measurement. So my bust line is 34. 34 divided by 4 is 8.5. 8.5. So from the midpoint here, measure 8.5. 8.5, which is here, plus 1 inch for that. We know just 2 here. And then normal body allowance, we do that same, we add 2 inches. So we do the same on the underbust. My underbust is 27 divided by 4 will give you 6.75. 6.75 is this. That's almost 7 here. Plus we measure the number of inches that is taken by this we mark 1.4, measure at 1.4 from this mark area, 1.4 and notch plus our 2 inches allowance. So if you wish to put more than 2 inches, good for you, but that is the number of inches I wish to add. Then for my waist measurement, I have 7, I mark 7, I mark 7 plus 2 inches for that, another 2 inches for my normal allowance. So at my base part of my corset, I will make use of my hip. My hip is 36. 36 divided by 4 is 9 inches. 9 inches plus 2 inches of the that we are placing that, and another 2 inches for that of our regular body measurement. So with this, we connect our lines carefully. So with this, we have extended our lines from this starting point. I've extended my line and I've marked out this, and then with this, I took it off, that's the bust line. So I'm going to connect our armhole line, and as this is the front part of the dress, we come in by 0.5 inch. We locate the midpoint. The midpoint is 3.5. From here, 3.5. We nudge it 3.5, and we come in by 0.5 inch. Come in by 0.5 inch. So with this, we come in and connect our armhole and then cut. So after connecting it, as you can see, we have connected it. This is the front part of the dress. So the front part of the dress, we have to know that this piece is singular, so I will have to write here unfold, so that when I'm placing it on the main fabric, I would know that I have to fold the material and place the draft on it in order to cut it out. And then also write that it has to be cut once. So I have to fold the material and then cut once for me to get this wrap. As you can see that the piece is just one part, so we cut out the draft paper and showed you what we have. So with this, we're going to cut it out so that you can see it out. Before then, I had to label the breast cup in order not to get confused. I had to label the breast cup. 1, 2. This is the single 1 and 2. We're going to notify the body 1 and 2 so that by the time we split it, we won't get confused at the way that's where it is. So let's continue cutting it. Please bear with me that the video is a little bit crude, but I believe that it's understanding, and if you really follow the video, you would have a full understanding of what I'm doing. So thank you. Let's continue cutting. So with this, we are done with the front part of the dress. As you can see, this is our corset, well arranged, it's connected. You can see, so arranged, it's wrapped, and then this is the yoke. In case that you want to add something on the top part of your dress, you want to attach it, maybe a lace or whatsoever. So you see that is the yoke. That's the yoke part of the dress. So should in case that you want to attach the yoke, remember that the neck width we used was the standard. This is not the type of neck width, depending if you want it a sweetheart, you want it a boat neck, whichever way. So what you just use to extend your neckline. And you can see that our piece is one, it's not folded. That is why I had to write on fold. I had to write it on fold. Should in case that if I'm to place it on a fabric, since it's a draft paper, if I'm to place it on my fabric, I will have to fold my material. This is to notify me that I have to fold my material and cut it once. So we move to the back view of the dress. So this is the back view of the dress. We are going to the back. This is the back of our corset with yoke, if you wish to put yours yoke. So I've lined up the measurements already, as you can see. Well, from this place, as usual, which is armhole, I had to come down, I had to measure out my shoulder, which is 16, and marked it 8 inches, and then came down by 1 inch to connect it to my neckline, and then from here measured out my 7 inches, which is my armhole measurement. So before then, I just want to let you know that I have lined out my measurements. I will explain that after marking out, creating our zip allowance. So our zip allowance is I'm using 1.5 inch. As you can see from my starting point, I measured 1.5 inch. So it depends on how you wish. Some want to make use of 1 inch zipper allowance. So for my own, I wish to make use of 1.5 inch. I want to have enough room for my zip. So for those that want to maybe add lace to gears by opening the back of the neck, they have to make it a bit wider. So you have to make yours maybe 2.5 or 3 inches, depending on how wide you want the back of your corset to be in order to put it shoelace. You know, one thing with the shoelace is that it kind of make either a fat person, a medium-sized person to wear such a clothes. It's adjustable to any size. That's why you see it the most in the wedding dresses. So for the course of the video, I'm making use of a zip, and so I'm measuring out 1.5 inches for my zip, as you can see. So after doing that, I will nudge it and then create a line I'll do that, not just all the way around down and then create a line. You can see I've made my lines. That is for the zip allowance, my zip allowance. Some call it zipper allowance. So let's confirm the measurements of the lines that I have made in order for you to understand. So from here to here, as I said earlier, is my armhole, which is 7 inches. Remember, I started from the 1 inch area where I came down. I didn't start from here. If I actually start from my shoulder line to mark out my 7 inches, it will make my armhole appear more smaller. So I had to come down from this area, the 1 inch I had to make, because normally the shoulder doesn't appear straight, it's slanting. That's why I had to come down by 1 inch and slant. So remember that from this area I had to measure out 3 inches for my zipper to that place where I started my slant line. This is by default. I'm using, as you can see in my yoke, or the front part of the corset, that I used 3 by 3. So in this case I'm using 3 by 1 because of the back side. I'm going in by 1 inch, and then I will draw it out. You can see it's marked out. So the next I will do is to confirm the measurements from here, from my shoulder. Remember, I'm starting from this very point, so now measure out to take my measurement. From my shoulder to my bust line is 10 inches. My shoulder to my under bust is 13.5. My shoulder to my waistline is 16, and my shoulder to my blouse length is 23 inches, just as we did in the front part of the dress. So I will do the same by labeling it out. My bust line, my under bust line, my waistline, and finally my corset length line, the blouse length. Yeah. So this is my armhole line. Usually this armhole line, as we did in the front part of the dress, serves as our guideline while making the cup. That was why we made use of the taking note of this armhole. But in this case, since it's the back side of the dress, we don't need to make a curve at the back side of the dress. So what we do is to make our darts just normal, like the normal way you make your hair. So my nipple to nipple measurement, my bust pan, is what you usually use. The bust pan, the bust pan, which is your nipple to nipple point, is what you usually have. That's what usually serves as your darts. So just like we did in the front part of the corset, my nipple to nipple measurement is 8 inches. So I'm adding half an inch, making it 1.5 inches. So in our allowance, so after taking note of that, I draw my line. So after drawing the line, what I will do is that at my under bust and waistline measurement, I have to go in by 1 inch. I'll go in by 1 inch on both sides of the. I'm doing this. Take note that I'm doing this point more in my waistline and my under bust. So I'm going to connect it to my bust line. Remember, it's going this way, straight. So after doing that, you take your regular horizontal body measurements, right, from starting from your zip allowance, just taking it out. My bust 34 divided by 4 is giving 8.5. Just 2 inches. My under bust is giving me 6.75. So by the time I add back the 2 inches taken from the dart, plus my 2 inches regular allowance. You can make your own allowance smaller if you wish to do so. So I'll do my waist 7. I think that's my 2 inches. My 2 inches allowance. My base hip is 9. 2 inches allowance. Yeah. So I will sketch out what we have and show you what we have. Yeah. So I'll sketch it out and show you what we have. So this is the back view of our dress. This is the back view of our corset. So if you want it to be in the 2 blind form, you just have this. You just have this. So if you still want it to have the yoke, you add this. That's the back view of the dress. So we have the back and the front part of the dress, of the corset, I mean, with or without yoke. So if you want it with the yoke, you add it. If you don't want it with the yoke, you do without it. When I mean the yoke is this upper part. When I mean the yoke is this. So if you don't want the yoke, you do without it. But if you wish to add it, you add it as well. So this video, I believe you really understood. And if it's your first time, thanks a lot for keeping into the channel. I would love that you subscribe if you haven't done so. Please subscribe, like and share this video. It will do much a lot. So if you have any question to ask, drop on the comment box. I really appreciate and will also answer to your questions ASAP. So see you next time, same channel. Bye.